You might have also noticed that that was a one-to-one mapping. We were able to create a mapping between, what I mean by one-to-one is one model to another model. There are often times when you need to create mappings between one model and many other models, so basically a one-to-many mapping. That often comes in during the case when you have an enterprise model, such as the monolithic type model that Anand discussed earlier in the presentation. Oftentimes you have that monolithic model that needs to be broken down into more specific subject area models. And you want to map entities in the enterprise model down to the specific subject area models. That's when we need to use the Universal Mappings Editor, which is available only to RStudio repository users. So I have a repository-based model available here, and this in fact is one of those monolithic enterprise-wide models. This is my corporate model, and it's over 600 entities, which some of you may be thinking that's small. So just as an example, we'll pick on a specific entity in this logical enterprise model. That entity specifically is this person entity. This person entity is used in many other models that have been basically based on this or parts of this enterprise model but are separate from it. Those separate models make it easier to manage rather than managing, again, a large monolithic model. Now, person oftentimes becomes more specific within those subject area models. So for instance, a person entity may become a customer or may become an employee. In the enterprise model, I leave person very general, which makes it very flexible so that I can use it across many subject area models, excuse me. So what I want to do, though, is map this person entity, which is basically a supertype, to many subtype person entities in different subject area models. And to do that, we'll utilize the Universal Mappings Editor. To open the editor, I'll go ahead and right-click on the person entity and select Universal Mappings. Of course, we're using person as our source of this mapping, and I want to go ahead and map this down to an entity within the logical model of e-commerce, some entities within a physical model of my AdventureWorks diagram, as well as within a physical model within my GIM diagram. So, beginning with AdventureWorks, and I'm just keeping an eye on these columns here. I can see that the entities on the far left are from the AdventureWorks. I want to map person directly to, in AdventureWorks, customer, employee, as well as job candidate. And then scrolling further down, we'll get down to e-commerce, where I have a customer entity. And finally, in my physical GIM model, I'll map person to broker and client. So now I've created a one-to-many mapping from the enterprise monolithic model down to these more specific subject area models. And as I save that and go into person, again, we'll open up the editor for person, and we'll go to the Where Used tab, and you can now see those universal mappings. So now we can see downstream, as Anand spoke about, from the enterprise model down to its subject area models. This, of course, could also be used in the other direction to see from the subject area models upstream to the enterprise model, and even further up into a conceptual model, which we won't have time to cover today.